Hello everyone and welcome back to EXA Season 9 Division 2 Round 8. We are here at Suzuka for the Japanese Grand Prix as we head into the final 5 races of the season. The 3.6 mile circuit contains 18 turns, 8 to the left and 10 to the right, with a single DRS zone down the main straight completing the circuit. And this circuit is like no other. It is the most legendary circuit on the one of the most legendary circuits on the calendar, the only figure of 8 circuit of its kind in Formula 1. Many iconic moments have transpired here, such as title deciders between Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna back in the 80s and 90s, as well as the comeback drive from 17th on the grid by Kimi Raikkonen, which he saw in 2005 to take victory, alongside many other great moments. I'm your commentator, Jamie Jackson, and I'll be taking you through proceedings tonight as we get into today's race. But first, we got a couple of things to discuss. Last time out, we didn't have many drivers. We didn't have a commentary stream due to it, but Zoran took the race victory ahead of Archer and Rio Harris. Nelly Safi finished 4th ahead of Flores, and William Lewis and Milinsky rounded out our grid. That was our 7 finishers, and Zoran has now got a comfortable lead in the championship of 16 points tonight over AMS Knight and Elu Safu, just 3 points further back in third on 19 points overall, further back from his teammate. Sausage Joe in 4th, Flores 5th, Brand 6th, Rio Harrison 7th, Archer in 8th, Adam 9th, Oliver rounding out that top 10, but it's still all to play for in the drivers. The constructors, though, is a little bit more spread, as Ferrari lead the way by 104 points over the Kick Sauber team in 2nd place. RB sitting 3rd ahead of the Red Bull senior team in 4th, Williams 5th, Alpine, Aston Martin in 6th and 7th, with McLaren, Mercedes and Haas completing the constructors standings. But we've got a race to deal with tonight. We have a few more drivers than last time out. We have 12 drivers now racing their way around the Suzuka circuit and trying to set the fastest time possible. Zoran currently fastest with a 1:26.859, just over a tenth clear of teammate Elu Safu on a 26.9. Everyone else a little bit further back. We've got Amos Nardo going through the last couple of corners now as he comes into the pit lane. Decides not to complete that lap. We've got JJ B51 currently going through sector 1 and through the iconic S section. Up towards the end of sector 1 we go. We're going to get some details up here. Oh, wait, that's always pressed wrong button. There we go. Through towards sector 2 and into the Degners we go. 31.8 in the first 2 sectors. It goes off the circuit and into the wall. Very lucky there not to get their tyre completely taken off there. But we'll continue on with only a minor bit of front wing damage, or a fair bit of front wing damage as he comes into the light. But luckily, we'll get away with that one and be able to go again later in the session. Now just come in and change that front wing of theirs. A couple other drivers currently having set laps. Rio Harris currently not on one. Meeks currently not either as they come into the pit. So the next person to set a time will be the Malsey, who is currently on a outlap, currently not set a time yet. We will go on board with the Williams through their fastest lap as we go down towards the start finish line. DRS already enabled before you even cross the line. Down towards turn 1 we go. Very iconic corner. You turn in qualifying without even braking or letting off. You've got to get as much time off these laps before you end up going anywhere near the Ferraris, let alone competing with them. You've got to try and find as much time as possible as Malsey goes through sector 1, 31.9 in the end of the first sector, goes off the circuit and invalidates it in Degler 2, the exit of Degler 1 into Degler 2, which is very similar to what happened to JJB51 there. Luckily for them, didn't go completely off the circuit, so they have time to recharge the battery as we go throughout the rest of sector 2 and start of sector 3. but someone who is on a lap is currently the provisional pole sitter, Amos Zoran, going through towards Spoon Curve now. What sort of time will we see from the current championship leader, who at the moment looks to be the informed driver, as we go up through now towards the end of sector 2 to start the very, very short sector 3, but includes one of the most iconic corners on the calendar, 130R. Barely a corner nowadays as it go through there completely fat with no issue. Now into the final chicane we go of turn 15. 16, 17 and turn 18 as he gets on the power, gets on that curb on exit. Traction could have been lost, but 3/10 gain there from Zoran, puts a 26.5 on the board. 3/10 clear now, 4/10 clear now, sorry, of Nelu Safu, their teammate, who is currently going through sector 1. We go up through the SE section and now down towards the Degners we go. Sector 1, 31.5, 11 hundredths down in that 11 thousandths down in that first sector. We're going to go through Degner 1 and 2. They did quite nicely as we go up towards the hairpin. What sort of time will we see from the Ferrari? Gets a massive amount of oversteer there and decides to back out, and that is crucial. Not just for his time, but for if Zoran, you notice your teammates 4/10 off you at the moment, and we knew that they would have been on a lap at this time if they were looking at where their teammate was and seen a potential mistake there could have been costly. So we will that be the difference between pole position and a bit of extra confidence, or will that be be Nelu Safu just finding the grip levels, finding the max amount of grip for when they go onto their final flying run in just a few minutes time. But we've got a couple of other drivers yet to set times. We've currently got Malze going through the final chicane, going to end their lap as they go up towards the line. They will set a 1 minute 28.2 by the Williams. P6 puts himself just 8/10 off of Rio Harris, but fairly nicely into the middle of the pack at this time. Can anyone like JJB51 or Amos Snyder, who have not set times, or anyone else who's behind the Williams, set a better time? We've still got only a few minutes left available while we have yellow flags throughout the circuit. Blazer currently curling into the pits, so it will be the next driver coming into the across the line will be Vigo and his teammate of Strikey. Strikey will stay on board with 6 seconds up on their personal best time, 34.0 from them. So this will put them right in the box seat for the 28 through the first two sectors. Can they get any quicker into the potentially the 27s? Rounding that final corner up towards the line of 27.0, almost into 26. It just goes out of Vigo, before Vigo goes to 26.8. And that's a very good time from the RBs. They're putting themselves firmly in the battle for second in the constructors' standings. Not quite able to match Zoran while beating Nelu Safu, but they certainly will try and find more time. Who is next on the circuit? It will be JJB51, who is currently going around the SS, but getting caught up behind the Williams of Malze, who goes off the circuit. Yes, but that could have certainly cost the McLaren crucial time. 27.6 puts himself ahead of that Williams we just saw, but that was a very, very big impeding if it did cost the McLaren. If it got any closer, it could have ended up in a collision and potentially damage, another set of front wing damage for the McLaren. Nardo has left, so we're going to quickly give him an invite. Where is he? I can't find him. Where is he? Reset, because sometimes it. Oh, what's that? So a couple of drivers yet to what Nardo's the only driver yet to set a time. I do apologise. I'm just trying to work out who and how. Yeah, I've got 12 drivers yet in the lobby, and we're just waiting to find out what happened to Nardo. I can't find out. He's just crashed. Oh, his game crashed. Hopefully he'll be able to get back in soon then. So we're gonna have a who's the next driver who's gonna set a time? I believe it won't be Rio, because Rio's going very slow. No, he's got his battery on charge. So I do wonder if the Alpine is going for a double out lap. We're going to wait for a lot of drivers who have not come out the pits. We've got 2 minutes and 50 seconds left on the clock, and with only one driver yet to set a time. And Zoran so far ahead. Not the call. Not try and get Nardo back. Let's see. What's that? John PS. Oh, what's it? Why is he not coming up? He's not coming up on my end, so I do apologise. I'm just trying to work out where he is. Oh, there you go, this way. Yep. I can't see him. Hold on 1 second. So you got a couple of drivers yet to set a time, but Zoran has decided to retire from the session. Play all stats fast, so you don't have to bother. Not your job, not really cool. Well, we're going to see what happens. We're going to continue on with this session. Nelu Safu currently got an opportunity now to go after Zoran if they believe they have the time and the opportunity time in their pocket to try and catch Zoran, who sits on top of the timesheets. Not going to put another lap in this session. It's just Nelu Safu going to go through the first sector just a tenth quicker than what they did in the previous sector. We're going to see as a couple drivers retire from the pit lane, deciding that they're not going to improve their time. Nelu Safu up through the gears now, down towards Spoon Curve. Can the Ferrari get themselves into a possibility of battling their teammate? We're going to go through Spoon Curve into turn 14 now, and on the exit gets on that curb. You got to be careful though, because that curb can certainly cost you time and drag you off if you are not careful with your car placement. 2 temps up, not going to be enough unless they find another 3 or 4 temps in this final sector. Into the final chicane of 16, 17 and 18 as we go through Casio Triangle. And now up towards the line. What time will we see? A 26.7 puts himself P2, a tenth and a half off of AMS Zoran. But that was not enough. That might be it for Zoran to go through. But Vigo is going faster. A tenth quicker in the first 2 sectors. It might be opportunity though for the RB if they can get another couple tenths in this final chicane through 16, 17, 18. Will Vigo, Will Strikey, both of the RBs going to go towards the line. Strikey, 27.0 mains, 26.8, a little bit quicker for Vigo. Lost time in that final sector, and that is their day in locking up the second row of the grid. Unless Blades has something to do about it, but it's 2 temps down, nearly 3 temps down in the first 2 sectors. Up towards the line, 4 temps down. Blazer cannot improve. Who's up next? JJB51, 27.5, 4 thousandths slower than what they did previously. It's going to be Meeks up towards the line, does not improve, jump ahead, and that is going to be qualifying over. Amos Zoran, our current championship leader, takes pole position and is now going to submit themselves with an opportunity to extend their championship lead. However, Nelu Safu, 19 points back, is on the front row with them. It's a front Ferrari 1-2 front row lockout. Vigo, Strikey, P2 and P3, RB second row lockout. Blazer, Rio Harris, JJB51 in 7th, Meeks 8th, Dion 9th, Malsey in 10th, Luigi in 7th, and Nardo in 12th. That is our grid, and we are about to get ready for the Japanese Grand Prix. A 26-lap break is ahead of us, and now it's going to be a very, very difficult race. The weather has certainly changed. While it is still dry, that overcast weather will certainly play a factor in how the cars feel. It does make a massive difference with these cars because the temperature changes how much the engine heats up, how much the tyres heat up and cool down, how much you can push the car, how the car setup feels and all that. It's a very and how the overall handling of the car is managed. It'll be very interesting to see who gains and loses from just that slight change. And now we're going to get ourselves underway for the Japanese Grand Prix. We will be, I think, a 27 lap race. Sorry, I don't remember how many. It's 27 or 29. And now we're going to get underway. What tyres are everyone going to go for? Medium tyres for everyone in the top 10, bar Malsey on hards, Nardo on softs as well. And now it is the opportunity for Zoran to extend that championship lead. Unfortunately, his closest rival in the championship, bar Nelu Safu, is not here tonight. We're going to go to the formation lap as we get ourselves underway. Everyone will be getting their tyres warmed up, trying to get some temperature in them tyres before we go again. But if their tyres remain cold, if they go too quickly in comparison to the back of the field, it could ultimately cost them in very, very cold tyres. These guys will try and optimise their warm-up, but if they're too quick, they go around that too quick in comparison to someone further down in the field, it could be costly. We've now got the end. We're now going to be going very quickly with Zoran, who at the moment it looks like it could be a 2-stop race. We might make it a 1-stop. Medium hard may be possible for these drivers if they manage tyres correctly. However, at the moment it should be difficult though for Zoran to manage that sort of thing, especially with the likes of Nelu Safu, Vigo, who will be trying to put them under pressure. Drivers like Rio made the 1-stop work in Spa when the Ferraris did not. So it'll be the same Strikey as well. I think Strikey made that difference. So it'll be interesting to see whether that has a bearing on who is the fastest. We've got also, just to remind you, point system is slightly different in EXA in comparison to normal F1. 25 points remains the top number of points in first. Second will be 20 points, 16 points for third, 13 points for fourth, 11 points for fifth, 10 points for sixth, 7 for it's seventh you get 9, all the way down to 1 in 15th. It goes down in single digits from there. Pole position also is a point, so that's an extra point in Zoran's favour, but we'll see whether that extra point will be beneficial later on in the season. But we're now getting ourselves lined up. This is Oran already lined up on the grid, but Nelu Safu is miles back in the order. And as things stand, these the warmer tyres of Nelu Safu could play a benefactor. If Zoran doesn't get a good of a start, he's going to be ruined, taking the formation lap so quickly. Here we go then. We're going to go to 5 red lights for Lisa's Japanese Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go. Zoran gets a very good start. Nelu Safu's going to actually have to be the one defending, because some RBs are coming to make an attack. Meanwhile, Blazer, he's trying to make an attack and goes very wide there and goes off the circuit onto the gravel. Goes to Sauber, who started P5, is down in P12. That has been ultimately costly for them. We're going to see JJB51 and Meeks fighting it out over P6 now, as the Red Bull McLaren continue to fight with Real Harris just ahead of them. The RBs and the Ferraris lead the way still, but we're going to go through the end of Sector 1. It's Zoran, it's Nelu Safu, it's Vigo, Strikey, Real Harris. That's our top 5, and the grid are now just going to try and settle in as we go through. There's a bit of contact there between the Red Bull and the McLaren for P6 and 7. JJB51 just cut across the nose of Meeks. Meeks trying and off-put the McLaren by sneaking their nose here, there and everywhere. But we're going to continue on now through Sector 2. At the moment, though, the gaps are already beginning to form between the top 5 and the rest of the field. Even the P1 of Zoran and their teammate of Nelu Safu, 1.2 seconds back already. DRS is, despite only being in one position on this circuit, could be already gone for Nelu Safu by the time we get to the end of lap 2. DRS will be enabled here, but it won't be until we get to the detection zone, which is all the way around a second tour of the lap. We're going to go into turn 1. Nelu Safu's got the RBs of Vigo and Strikey right behind them. Can the Ferrari fend off the RBs behind them? It's like a difficult race so already for Zoran. Yellow flag for Blazer, who's gone off at the exit of turn 1, the exit of the first couple of corners, and very much has to get back on with the drive. But continuing back to the front now, the RB of Strikey goes well off the road. That cost them time in their battle with their teammate of Vigo and the Ferrari of Nelu Safu. We're going to go through the hairpin now and up towards Spoon Curve through to I think it's just I can't even remember this corner. It's up towards turn 13 and 14. And the Ferrari of Nelu Safu may just start closing in now on Zoran. It's now down to 1.1 seconds. It's a little bit closer than what it was a lap ago. However, Zoran may be managing those tyres a little bit, maybe just keeping them in check, while Nelu Safu is having to push that a little bit harder to try and get back within DRS as we go up through the end of the lap, through Casio Triangle we go, and up towards the final corner and through we go to end lap 2. Nelu Safu Foster after race against DRS off of their teammate, and this is the opportunity Nelu Safu had to take because the and push those tyres that little bit more. However, it will certainly be beneficial if they can stay close to their teammate for the whole race, if not overtake them on pure race pace. Maybe Zoran set their car up a little bit more for qualifying, as opposed to Nelu Safu, who ended up pulling their car towards more race pace and consistency. We're going to go through turn 3 into Degna 2, and we see Nelu Safu just closing that gap a little bit more. The top 4 within DRS. Real Harris broke 1.5 seconds away from them. Yellow flag for Dion, who's going to now fall back from the rest of the field on the exit of Degna 2. Manages to keep themselves going though as we go through towards the Spoon Curve of turn 13 and turn 14. Safu is going to be struggling here to get themselves back in DRS, but he's going to be using that ERS that much more to try and close in on the Ferrari and his teammate no less, his championship rival at the moment. this is a perfect opportunity as well, because Amos Knight, only a couple of races ago, was leading this championship by a significant margin, has not been here for a number of races now, and is now being caught by the Ferraris, who look to be immensely quick in comparison. And at the moment, Zoran Safu just going to be starting to make it into a one-on-one situation between the Scuderias. Meanwhile, though, Vigo and Strikey are going to have something to say about that, because despite being in third and fourth, they are sticking with the two Italian, well, the four Italian team, four Italian cars, two Italian teams technically. VCARB being for in Faenza, the Ferraris being for Maranello. It is going to be interesting to see whether the RBs can spoil the Ferraris' day. We're going to see as Nelly Safu exit, and Zoran, Vigo and Strikey all exit off the hairpin towards Spoon Curve. And we now go up towards turn 13. And into turn 14 we go. At the moment, it is Nelly Safu who just has to bide their time and make sure they just get as close to Zoran, put as much pressure on Zoran as physically possible without breaking themselves too much, destroying their tyres too much, as we go into the final chicane of 16, 17 and 18. And at the moment, it is going to be a 6/10 gap between the two Ferraris. 6/10 further back is Vigo. 9/10 further back is Strikey. But someone who may come under a little bit more pressure is Rio Harris, currently in P5. Going to have JJ P5-1 to the outside. Goes to McLaren, and he swoops around the outside. The Alpine sticks to the inside as Rio Harris tries to defend hard. Can they manage to do so? They're going to go side by side through the S's. Bit of contact there. Bit more contact as they go through there. They manage to just keep it together. Both drivers really just push each other to the limits. Rio Harris though drops down to P6. JJ B51 moves his way up to P5. Bit of contact there, put also Rio Harris offline throughout the whole S section. But Rio going to be back on the back of the McLaren as the Papaya car defends from the pink and blue car. Up the inside into the hairpin goes Rio Harris. Can he make the move stick? He's going to have to the inside, but the better exit goes to the Papaya car. JJ B51 keeps the position for now, but switch back McGee goes Rio Harris as he goes up towards Spoon Curve. Can he try to take the outside? No, he can't. As we go into turn 13 and turn 14. But Rio Harris is going to be right up the back of the McLaren as we go up towards 130R. Use the slipstream, use the tow, use a bit of the extra ERS as well. Into 130R we go. The Alpine sticks right to the back of them. Meanwhile, Molsey overtakes Meeks into P7 goes to Williams. We're going to see a fight continue on between Rio Harris and JJ B51 as we go through the chicane. DRS enabled for Rio Harris as he goes to try and make overtake JJB51 once more and retakes P5. Goes to Alpine. Meanwhile, Meeks retakes P7 for now, but Miles's going to have something to say about that potentially as they go into turn. The S's now trying to follow along, but you can see the dirty air washing away at the Williams, affecting their downforce levels, and the Meeks may be able to survive for another day at this stage. However, it's certainly not over yet but in any of these battles. Currently got a four-way fight for P1, P5 and P7 having we've got a couple battles there for, and then P9 down to P11 is also a key battle in a three-way fight for the final couple places in the top 10. At the moment, no, it can't be much closer at the front because we've got Zoran, Nello Sappho, Vigo and Strikey fighting out for race victory. But these drivers now got to play mental game to try and manage those tyres while also keeping at a high pace. Into the chicane now. As we go to end lap 6 and start lap 7. And any of these drivers manage their tyres. Meanwhile, Blazer manages to get by Dion for P10. Dion dives it up the inside. Can they make the move stick? Blazer breaks Will later, but almost goes off the circuit in trying to defend. But they both manage to keep the positions at their stage. But Blazer's going to have DRS. JJ B51 moves up to P5. Blazer to P9. Dion to trying to go to P10. The Red Bull for Luigi goes off the circuit. And at the moment, he drops down to P11. JJ B51 moves back up to P5. P6 for Rio Harris. I wasn't expecting that move to happen back so quickly after the gap a little bit through these first couple of corners. However, Rio Harris will be looking to try and get back in front. A massive snapper oversteer there from the Alpine as we go down towards the hairpin now of for the 7th time this race, but Rio is not going to give this up. Our last season Division 3 champion. Can Rio make a statement here tonight, because they have been very much one of the best of the rest this season, and certainly will be have put themselves into excellent positions throughout this year. It's been a tough grid. It's been a tough way to fight. But the Alpine is certainly going to continue to fight in the higher end of the points. Into 130 yard we go. Rio Harris looks to the inside into the chicane. We go through turn 16 now. Rio Harris manages to get doesn't manage to make anything of it there, but it's put JJB51 offline onto the main straight with the McLaren to the inside line. But the Alpine is going to make a move to the outside. They go around the outside into turn 1, but the Alpine goes firmly off the circuit. Just about manages to keep it off the gravel, but that certainly cost them a 3-second time penalty. For that, it's a little bit ridiculous from the game, to be honest, but unfortunate for Rio as we go through the S's now they've got to refocus. 1.5 second gap to JJ, but that time penalty was completely unjustified in my opinion. He went off the circuit alongside JJB51, came back on circuit about 1.5 seconds behind. Don't know exactly what Rio could have done there to avoid that warning, but we continue on as we go into the rest of lap 8. Nelu Safu is 6 tenths behind Zoran at this stage. The gaps between the two Ferraris and the two RBs are beginning to open, but the Nelu Safu is keeping just about the same amount of pressure on his teammate of Zoran as we go into the chicane for the 8th time into 16, 17 and 18. And now we round it towards the end of lap 8. Nelu Safu just loses a little bit extra too much time into the on the exit of the final corner, and that ultimately costs him because Zoran just pulls that gap enough to get out, get through and complete another lap in the lead. But our first pit up comes into the pit lane. It will be Rio Harris who comes into the pits to set a new set of tyres on their car. And at the moment, the Alpine will be able to try and use the undercut, use the clean air to try and catch the rest of the field and potentially undercut JJB51. But the early pit stop may cost them later on in the race if they struggle with tyre wear. We're going to see Dion and Blazer go side by side. Blazer lets Dion through. I'm not sure what happened there, but Dion moves up to P8. I wonder if Blazer had some sort of issue. Got caught on the gravel maybe on the exit of the S's. As we go into the hairpin now, the Mercedes of Dion is trying to catch Meeks, trying to catch Malsey for P6 now after Rio's pit stop P7 on after the pit stop phases have been complete. But we'll continue on with the battle for the lead. Zoran Nelu Safu P1 and P2 currently. Nelu Safu through the exit just loses that extra too many tenths and ultimately it's costing them because that they're not coating it enough by the end of the straight, and that is ultimately proving costly, because that is causing them more dirty air throughout the next lap after lap after lap, causing them to use up their tyres more, and their tyres become warmer, as well as their engine temperatures will become warmer. Whereas Zoran, complete clean air, can drive the car exactly how they want and don't have to worry too much about any sort of overheating. However, Nelu Safu needs to put more pressure on Zoran to push them to go faster. But their strategy offset to how they place and unoptimize that as we go through towards the spoon curve for the 10th tour, and we go into turn 13 and 14. Nelu Safu, they're 6.5 tenths back, 7 tenths back, but they can close the gap here of the slipstream, the ERS as well. Zoran doesn't really use it here, they don't have to. At this stage, there's a Meeks who's gone off the circuit at 270. Was that, I think? I'm not sure. Might be 190. But we're going to go through towards the end of lap 10. To start lap 11, the RB of Vigo comes into pits, maybe looking at an undercut to try and catch the Ferraris, as JJB51 will jump ahead of Vigo as well. I doubt anyone else will get in front. Maybe Blazer will, but yeah, it'll be but they will all have to pit sooner rather than later. Vigo, yeah, comes out behind Blazer at this stage with a fresh pair of tyres. I believe he's onto a set of hards, just like Rio Harris. Will now see how long they can go in the race. But how long can these drivers truly go on the medium tyres? The Ferraris extend their advantage, but to overstrike it to 3.5 seconds now. The RB just not quite managing the pace of the Ferraris on a consistent level. Manages to keep up for maybe lap by maybe a tenth or two, but over the course of the race, the Ferrari's consistency is just supreme. We now go down towards the 130R, and Nelu Safu just got to try and manage as Blazer allows Vigo to go through a bit more easier than expected. I believe Blazer didn't think there would be much to fight there if because Vigo is on a complete different strategy and is trying to go for an undercut. This is the opportunity for them to do so. Nelu Safu and Strikey both come into the pit lane to end their stints. This is going to be undercuts for them on Zoran, and they get the undercut on Vigo. Vigo is going to be very close by the end of this straight, but is it too little? Too late, because they're going to as Vigo comes down the main straight, that lap extra on the mediums, they stay ahead on the hard, sorry, they stay ahead of Strikey, but come out behind Nelu Safu. That might be music to the ears of Zoran if that undercut just not quite managing to get Vigo ahead of the Scuderia. However, Zoran is going to have to be careful now, and when they pit, because if they pit later, they are more than certainly going to end up with their teammate in front of them. But if they pit now, they might have the opportunity. Meeks has become the first retirement of the session as they pull into the pit lane. And now we're going to go through towards the end of that. We're going to see Nelu Safu and Vigo fighting over P2, but as Strikey goes back by on Blazer, Blazer is really causing the RBs a bit of problems here, because they are he was just inside their pit window as Blazer, sorry, just has a massive bit of snap of oversteer. Those tyres are certainly not the most happy at this stage. However, Zoran will be coming into the pits next. Nelu Safu and Vigo looking to try and get by on the championship leader race here. At this stage, And Vigo, Nelu Safu is going to go, and Vigo looks to the outside. Can Vigo go around the outside to take the position? The RB takes the lead as Nelu Safu just went by their teammate. Vigo goes by on him. So Vigo, the RB, now leads the way on a track that is very, very difficult to overtake. And now is opportunity for the V-Carb to try and take points away from the Scuderia. And at the moment, it is completely inverted in that top three as Vigo leads Safu, leads Zoran, and now Zoran must be kicking himself. Yes, he's got a couple extra laps of tyre offset against Vigo, has a lap extra tyre offset against Nelu Safu, but if it is that difficult to overtake on this circuit, it could end up being a very, very bad choice from the Ferrari. We go through Spoon Curve into turn 13 and 14. It's Vigo leading the race for the first time this race. Nelu sat and becomes the only driver outside of Zoran who leads this race. But they're going to have to do some almighty defence against Nelu Safu, against Zoran. And if Strikey catches up, they would really desperately need that to really help them and make it a 2v2 rather than a 2v1 situation for the RB. We now go down towards turn 1, but Nelu Safu's exit out of turn 18 has ultimately cost both the Ferraris again an opportunity to go past Vigo, because he now sat behind him for another lap, and he just cannot look to find a way by. As we go through the S's now and up towards Degner 1 we go. Vigo leads the way and looks to need to manage that exit onto Spoon Curve, exit onto the main straight, and that could pay dividends. This is another exit you've got to be careful of, though. The exit of the hairpin, you muck up there with traction on exit. The other driver behind could get a beautiful run all the way down towards Spoon Curve. We've seen it before. We can see that again. As we now go on the exit of Spoon Curve, yellow flag, and that is for Blazer currently, who's just fallen off the road at Degner 2. They continue on their way, but I wonder if they have any sort of damage. We're going to continue on this battle for the lead. It is Vigo who leads the way, but can Nelu Safu get a better exit this time? They seem to get a much better exit in comparison to their last lap. 4 attempts behind and closing for the Ferrari. Vigo defends to the inside. Is it going to be enough? The Ferrari comes, but it doesn't get close enough. As he gets through towards turn 1, Vigo maintains that lead. Zoran has to sit behind Safu because the Ferrari has that extra bit of DRS, and now it just cancels each other out. This is the 3-car DRS trade. Ultimately, Vigo is holding up the Ferraris beautifully now because Strikey is coming back towards the battle for the lead, and this could ultimately turn into a worst case scenario for the Ferrari squad, because now they're in a RB sandwich, and they can start both defending and attacking and throwing the Ferraris into all sorts of pandemonium, and it could end up being a difficult day for the Ferraris, a day where they really had the best pace, but they could but it's still got 12 laps to go yet. Vigo has now got the opportunity to make it even harder for Zoran. Now we go through towards 130R. Nelu Safu's backed up a little bit in comparison to the previous lap. Is half a second back, just dips under that before we get into the chicane. But can Nelu Safu get a better exit? They do get a decent exit down to 4.5 tenths. But the RB has got enough straight line speed at this time to even manage Nelu Safu to not get anywhere near the back end of that V-carb. As we go through towards the S's now, it's just a patience game for Safu and Zoran, but who's going to run out of patience first and make the biggest mistake? Or will Vigo be put under too much pressure. We now continue through Degner 2 and onto the hairpin. Oh, massive snap oversteer there for Strikey in the background. Managed to keep it off the grass, but their tyres may be being pushed a little bit too hard. They are on a lap younger tyres than Vigo. Same lap old tyres as Nelu Safu, but they have had to push a lot more to get into the position they have. As we now go through turn 13 and turn 14. As we go up towards 130R. Nelu Safu just closing in bit by bit behind Vigo, but that Ferrari behind them looming in their mirrors is going to be putting them under significant pressure as we go now into the chicane for the 16th time, rounding turn 18 as we end the lap 16, start lap 17 with 11 laps to go. Vigo has just got to keep their head cool, but it's easier said than done because you've got two Ferraris just hounding you down, waiting for you to make your the first mistake and take the opportunity away from you. Meanwhile, we're going to see a battle between between Rio Harris and JJB51. Rio Harris drops down to P6 while JJ moves up to P5. However, the medium tyres for JJB51 will probably have to pit again. He did also, I believe, start on the mediums. I'll double check that one. Yes, so he's got to stop again at the very least, and that is going to be crucial. Blazer moves up the P9 after Mosey pits for new tyres. But JWP51 has the opportunity now to try and pull a big enough gap, go onto the soft tyres, get ahead of Dion, and then catch Rio Harris on the older hard compound tyres. And maybe it will be worth it, but he will need to pull out of DRS as Rio's also got 6 seconds worth of time penalties, so that cuts down the pit stop window by a couple seconds, which may become the biggest benefactor to that Papaya car's run at P5. We go round turn 18 and towards the end of lap 17, start lap 18, it's going to be the Ferraris hounding down Vigo once more, but cannot do anything into turn 1. We're going to go back to the battle for P5 as Rio Harris comes into the pits actually. Maybe going to go for another undercut. We've gone to the medium compound of tyres. I assume that we will... as we see this background camera from Vigo on Nelu Safu on AMS Zoran, a rarity you ever see that camera angle in an F1 game. Meanwhile, Safu up the inside, contact there between Safu and Vigo. That was an absolute disaster for Safu, who tried to make a move into Degner 1, doesn't make it work, and they drop down out of the podium positions, and that was ridiculously unopportunistic. They tried to make their move there, and unfortunately for the Ferrari, cost them. That is not a very good overtaking spot if you ever see one from any car. You never see it into the Degners, and that has now potentially allowed Zoran into the opportunity to take the lead. Safu had the opportunity to hold at least Zoran behind, take a couple points off in this race, maybe take the victory, but unfortunately it is turned from bad to worse for Safu. Zoran is going to have the opportunity now to track Vigo as we go down towards turn 1. Disaster has struck the Nelu Safu, who, bear in mind, now has those tyres are going to be struggling to get to the end due to that spin. The tyre wear would have significantly increased on that, so this could be not just a loss of the podium place, but potentially P4 as well to JJB51, who is currently got to stop. Yes, got to stop again. But if Nelu Safu has to, they will do that much later on in comparison to the McLaren, So we'll see whether the undercut makes any sort of difference. Massive error there from Vigo as they try and get an exit onto the hairpin. Zoran has put themselves into an almightily good position. As we go down towards Spoon, as we go into 13, into 14, we go as Zoran just got to sit behind, just bide their time now, not to be too aggressive like their teammate was. They have seen the mistakes of Lenu Safu, and now they won't make that one happen again. As we go into the final chicane of turn 16, 17, and then up through turn 18. To Walsall, and we go. Zoran 3 tenths behind. This could be the best opportunity for Zoran as they go. DRS, ERS around the outside into turn 1. Can Vigo defend? They're going to go side by side contact between the V-Carb and the Ferrari as we go through to the first corner. Zoran has to sit back behind. Vigo manages to defend that contact there, minimal but effective, if anything, for the RB. That's forced Zoran to just lose that enough amount of momentum they had with that DRS around the outside, and they have to settle back in for P2. At the moment, though, he will not go for that move into Degler 1 that Nelu Safu so desperately tried. And as we go through Degler 2, up towards the hairpin for the 20th time this race, Zoran has got the grip, has got 2 lap newer tyres than Vigo, but as Vigo tries to defend, can he push Zoran's tyres to go harder away? Goes off the circuit. That allows Strikey to go through. Into P2 we go. Zoran makes a massive error there. This is now Strikey, who's got a time penalty, so this doesn't matter to him. He has to try and defend from the Ferrari now. Try and help Vigo keep that position. Zoran all over the back of Strikey, trying to make a move there. Decides to go against it. Almost goes onto the grass into the final chicane, but can't manage anything at this stage. Strikey's got DRS. Zoran's got DRS. Strikey's got to be absolute hard defence now against the Ferrari. Try and gain Vigo that bit of extra time necessary around the outside. Goes Zoran. Cannot make the move stick as they go try and cut back against the RB. Cannot do anything there as we go through into the S's now. Zoran moved down to P3, Strikey up to P2. Ferraris are having a torrid time on these hard compounded tyres. One made an error in judgment, trying to go for a move into Degler 1. Failed attempt, caused contact between them and Vigo. And what a ridiculous move. Goes off the circuit, goes Zoran, who's already making another mistake. Maybe they push their tyres that bit too much, and that has ultimately cost the Ferrari not just an opportunity to go after Vigo for the next few laps, to go after Strikey, who's now lost and now they've lost track position, and it looked like it was going to be a Ferrari 1-2. At this moment in time, though, it is completely flipped away from them, and massive snap oversteer there from Strikey. That could be costly there, as Strikey's now got to try and defend against Zoran, who's got the better run as we go into 130R. If you're Vigo, though, you back off, you try and manage the pace, you try and keep Strikey in that DRS, you try and help your teammate defend, because that penalty there for the RB means that they will not be of any major threat there. Nelu Safu has moved their way up to P4, but they've got Zoran, who's going to attack Strikey into turn 1. Can't quite do anything there. Meanwhile, Nelu Safu is got back by JJB51 as we go into the final, as we headed through 130R. Nelu Safu has stayed ahead into turn 1, but the McLaren, he's going to sit right behind them. Battle for the lead, no three-way fight. Instead of it being like it was 5 or 6 laps ago, two Ferraris versus 1 RB, it's now 2 RBs versus 1 Ferrari, and at the moment it has become a strategical benefit to the RBs because they're now in a 1-2 position. The second place driver with a penalty could try and play this to the benefit of Vigo, try and get them the maximum amount of constructor points against Ferrari. That 3-second time penalty could prove costly for Strikey. But meanwhile, we're going to see a move by Zoran be attempted as they get closer and closer towards the 130 yards. We go into the chicane. Can Zoran make any move? It won't be possible here. They're going to get desperate though, because Strikey using that DRS will try everything they possibly can to try and stay ahead. Zoran got the DRS, so does Strikey, but Zoran is much closer. Strikey just sitting his car in the correct position to be able to stay ahead of the Scuderia. But for how long we go, because Zoran is just going to get more and more impatient. He's going to get right behind the rear wing of the RB. And at the moment, Zoran is going to get more and more frustrated. Someone who might get frustrated, though, is JJB51, who has currently might actually end up dropping behind Dion. And no, never mind. He's come out ahead, but Blazer goes ahead of Dion for P7 up the inside into turn 1. Excellent move there. That's a Rio Harris. He's off the circuit, and that's going to be absolutely costly, because that's our JJB51 through. And that, with a 6-second tyre penalty to boot, has ultimately dropped Rio out of contention for a P5. Absolutely, absolutely heartbreaking there. That's the one. For Rio, he has damage as well. Whatever he's done to that front wing has proved costly. But we're going to go back to the battle for the race lead now. Zoran has to still sit behind. We've got 5 laps to go. Sorry, 4 laps to go now. I miscounted. We've got 4 laps to go now. Lap 24 of 27. And Zoran is going to try make a move to the inside. Not quite anything he could do there. But Strikey is sitting right behind Vigo, trying to use that DRS, use that slipstream to their benefit. And at the moment, is really Zoran who has to do something, because he can't just sit behind Strikey and hope Strikey attacks Vigo. That's not going to happen anytime soon, because Strikey, if they're playing the team game, he's gonna sit behind more and more. Zoran's got to try and do something outside of DRS. Hope Strikey gets some sort of mistake, and Zoran just really pushing the car to try and find something against those RBs, but cannot find a way by our pole sitter, who yes gained an extra point, is currently gained an extra point on their championship rival, gaining extra points on their championship rivals of Nelu Safu and AMS Knight. Whatever way you look at it at the moment, but they would love to wrap it up with another win on their to their belt. And at the moment, Zoran is the closest he's ever been to Strikey, who defends the inside. Zoran gonna off-put the RB as we go into the chicane of 16 and 17. As we go through turn 18 though, this could be the opportunity, and a perfect opportunity there from AMS Zoran, who actually can't do anything, has run out of any sort of power down the straights, as Striker uses the slipstream from Vigo to just stay ahead. And at the moment, these guys are really trying everything in their power to stay. Try and make something work. Nelu Safu's got to come into the pit lane on lap 25 or 27. Their tyres are finish, and this is going to only benefit Zoran even more. They got a massive gap in the Constructors' Championship, but RB are certainly working as a team at the moment. Nelu Safu's dropped behind JJB51, but ahead of Rio Harris. Can the Ferrari get themselves back ahead of the McLaren before the race is done? We've got 3 laps to do so. 1.7 second gap is not entirely out the question. We're going to go down towards Spoon Curve now. Zoran just got to find something. Yes, he'll get P2 on track as long as he don't get a penalty, but Strikey at the moment is holding the Ferrari hostage in P3, keeping Vigo defended like it is like a king in the night. At the moment, Strikey just doing enough. Zoran looked to the inside, try and make an attack, but could not quite do anything there. That ultimately put themselves offline, cost them through the chicane as we go to the exit of turn 18 to start the penultimate lap of the race. And Vigo leads Strikey, leads Zoran, and the top three not giving an inch. We're going to go down towards the battle for P4 as JJB51 is now just been snuck, reeled in by Nelu Safu into DRS, but I'm not sure if it happened in time. He's going to have one more opportunity, Nelu Safu, with DRS later on in the following lap. We're going to see Rio Harris leading with P6, P7 for Blazer, P8 for Dion, P9 for Milesy, P10 for Luigi, P11 for Amos Snyder, who has left the session. We are on lap 26 of 27 with 2 laps to go. It is all spicing up. Zoran just is starting to really run out of time. It is really becoming a matter of just a few grains of sand left to run through that hourglass, because at the moment Strikey has just done everything to stop Zoran from getting through. The RBs have worked in perfect unison. Meanwhile, Nelu Sapu's made a move up the inside into the hairpin and makes it into P4. Ferrari manages to do so, but we've got to keep an eye on this battle for the lead. We're going to go on to the final lap of the race. Can Zoran do anything to get by Strikey as we go down with DRS towards turn 1? Nothing Zoran can do against Strikey, against Vigo as we go through turn 1. But someone who might be able to do something about the other Ferrari is JJB51, who switches it to the inside, sells the Ferrari. The W tries to make the move stick. The Nelu Safu later on the brakes. Can the McLaren use the DRS to try and get back by against the Ferrari? It's going to be all or nothing now between the McLaren, between the Ferrari. We've seen a Scuderia and the Papaya car in different eras. Goes as a late move in defence from Nelu Safu, sends JJB51 completely off the road with damage, no less. That is a mightily late move from the Ferrari in defence, trying to cut back to the inside of the circuit. JJB51 goes off the circuit, and that costs them. Meanwhile, battle for the lead is not over. Even though we're going to go, however, time is fitting. We're going to go through Spoon Curve, just a couple more corners now for Vigo to survive. Strikey has done everything against Zoran to hold him off, and that time penalty will cost him dearly. A couple of extra points in the bank for the RB. To the outside goes Zoran. Is there anything he can do? Not quite, but it's going to be Vigo, who has absolutely mastered the defence today. It's since that second jumping into lead in the second stint to take victory in the Japanese Grand Prix. Vigo wins round 8. Zoran comes home P2 to extend this championship lead over Nelu Safu. Strikey rounds out the podium to really boost the constructors' points of RB. Nelu Safu finishes P4 despite a bit of controversy with that late move on the before going into turn 1. I wonder if that will be looked at by the steward, but he for now will finish P4. Rio Harris will finish P5, but with a time penalty will move JJB51 up to P5. Rio Harris will finish P6. Blazer in 7th. Dion will come home in P8 with Milesy in 9th. Luigi in P10, and that is out. Finishes Luigi, unfortunately for him, has a puncture, but he will come across the line no less with points. Nardo finishes 11th, but he was disconnected, so can't do much. Vigo, though, takes victory in an astonishing drive from him, and a astonishing defence by and a lot of teamwork by Vigo and Zoran, and that is an excellent job from the two of them. As we now end the race with what is an excellent race, especially in that back half. The team strategy, teamwork has worked beautifully, and that has allowed the RBs to gain what is effectively a 40 41 points today. While Ferrari have gained a few, that will certainly help them in their constructor fight with Sauber. And actually, I believe pulls them ahead of Sauber, maybe. Yeah, that pulls them miles clear of Sauber now, and miles clear of Red Bull. Race winner of the day, Vigo. JJB51, driver of the day, fastest lap, cleanest driver, Malsey, with the most overtakes. There you go then. Here's our here's everything for you. Here's our race winner, Vigo. Zoran, Strikey, Nelu our podium sitters, Nelu Safi in 4th, JJB51, one of the fastest lap the race in P5, Rio Harris 6th, Dion 7th, Malsey 8th, Luigi in 9th, Blazer around that top 10, Meeks and Nardo was disconnected the whole race, and Meeks D and F. One excellent race, and that is going to be the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for watching. Actually, Blazer, sorry, I do apologise. Blazer does not finish 10th. He actually finished ahead of Dion, but the game sent him further down the order. So he actually finishes P7, so Dion 8th, Malsey 9th, Luigi 10th. So, just to keep that in note. But thank you all for watching. We'll back next week for Netherlands reverse. Please feel free to join us then. It'll be another addition to an exciting championship battle.